My name is Patrick Taran. I've been working in the fields of migration, refugee resettlement, integration, and human rights for now about 35 years. I currently head up a global expert body doing research, policy development, and advisory services on international migration policy and practice. I formerly was Senior Migration Specialist at the International Labour Office in Geneva, and prior to that, Secretary for Migration at the World Council of Churches. Well, I have seen the rise of right-wing nationalism coinciding with migration. However, I think they have little to do directly with each other as a cause and effect. Rather, right-wing nationalism clearly has a base in rising discontent, increasing unemployment, increasing sense of insecurity among growing portions of the population, where, for example, in one country, the United Kingdom, data shows that in the last 20 years, the poverty rate in the country has doubled, clearly meaning that people are hurting and looking for an answer and what to do about it. Right-wing nationalism poses a simple problem statement and simple solutions, saying that, well, migration is the cause. We've seen in one case, one country, they say, look, here are 3 million unemployed, we have 3 million migrants, you do the addition. It's not at all so simple. On the migration question, it's clear that Europe needs migrants, that the labor force in many countries depends for 10 to 20% of the workers in the country, 30% in Switzerland, on the foreign-born. And at the same time, because migrants are different and visible, and their presence in society is coinciding in many people's minds with rising insecurity, with rising problems, with what's our future, somehow they're easily posed as the problem, and then the solution is easy. Well, we stop immigration, or we get these people out, and we go back to the good old days, which of course isn't going to happen in the face of a financial crisis, in the face of a system that isn't delivering the goods for a lot of people in society. Immigrants, in fact, are taking jobs in Europe. The data shows that they're by and large at the low end of the economic spectrum, taking jobs that Europeans are no longer available for. At the high end, they're taking jobs that there are not Europeans trained to do, where employers need new skills or changing skills that the local institutions are not turning out people fast enough with the new enough skills to do it. But that's in a context also where Europe's populations, and this is true of every country in the European Union, are aging, and numerically, if not beginning to decline, they've already declined. Some countries in the last 20 years have begun to see a decline in their adult working population of as much as 10%. No coincidence then that 10 to 20% of the workforces of most Western European countries are comprised by the foreign-born or by people who have at least one parent who's foreign-born. Austria is perhaps a good example, with the quintessential European city of Vienna being comprised today of 49% of the population is either foreign-born or has at least one parent who's foreign-born. And at the same time, the success of Austria's industry is that, for example, it's producing pumps that are used everywhere in the world with leading technology, and the people who build those pumps in Austrian factories are by and large people of foreign origin, alongside Austrians, in a situation where the actual employment rate is not so. Well, first of all, I think governments need to recognize, and their spokespeople need to say, immigrants are not only good for the country. Without immigration, Europe's economies and Europe's workforces will no longer be even viable. So we're talking about immigration being one of the factors, not the only one, not the only solution, but one of the factors that in the next period of time is essential simply to sustain development and to sustain the economies and to sustain the level of welfare that should be distributed across the population in this region. There clearly has to be a change in the way migrants are portrayed, the way migration is portrayed. There also needs to be an approach by governments to take on developing coherent, comprehensive policies, because you're not going to fix the solution by continuing to restrict access to the low skilled areas of the labor market, where there are not enough Europeans in some cases to take. But if you place barriers where you have a high demand and a high supply, it's simply going to make for more irregular migration and more unfair competition on the labor market. More generally, having a comprehensive approach, we're going to attract and we're going to find we're going to have to do more to attract the high skilled, because at the global level, we face a situation where in 6 years, according to a very comprehensive study, there will be a global shortage of 85 million workers with either tertiary education or with high technical and vocational skills that are needed to do the work in the economies, not only in the Western European and industrialized countries, but in the rest of the world. And if economies and societies are not attracting the skills and not building them internally at the same time with the people there, it ain't going to work. In many ways, what we're saying is immigration is one of the keys to the solutions for Europe's challenges of developing, maintaining its economies, maintaining competitivity, and also providing welfare for the people, well-being for its people in the next 10, 20, 30 years.